Bonjour, bonjour. If you are watching after 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, feel free to go to the comments, hit that timestamp. We'll be starting at that 5-minute mark. If you are here, say hello. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Hi, Magic. Make sure to share the video. If you're here, say hello, say hi. Let me know that you are here. Share the video with someone who may benefit from this, or someone who enjoys this kind of content. We're speaking about life after death today. All right? So share the live, share the live. Hi, Tamia. How are you? You definitely probably needed to be here for this one. All right. Because of the nature of today's topic, I am going to light a candle for protection. To transmute negative energies, as well as incense. Share the live if you're here. Like the video as well. Your ear ringing. I hope you've been good. I haven't gotten any updates from you in a little second about how things are going on your journey, but I'm sure you'll let me know. Well, on this live, I'm actually going to do things slightly different just because of the nature of the topic. So yeah, hold tight. If you have any ancestors or spirit guides that you would like to receive messages from, go ahead and invite them to use me, send messages through me. I am not going to invite any spirits to mount me, but I am going to invite them to give me messages. Yeah, the energy on this live is a little bit different. It feels a little bit different. Okay, so we got 30 more seconds before we get into it. Share the live. Like the video if you are here. If you are watching, like the video. Share the video with someone who can benefit from this. Okay. 2, 1, and it's time to go. All right, so what's up, y'all? Welcome to Savy, Sentient. I'm your girl, Sid, and welcome to the channel. On today's Savvy Saturday, we are discussing death and what comes next. What happens after we die? Okay. During this live, if you would like to have a question answered specifically for yourself, you can send a super chat. It is located in the bottom of your chat screen. It is the $sign. Okay. You're going to type your question, add your donation amount, and hit send. Do note that the amount of your donation will directly reflect the depth of your reading. Also, all of the questions are going to be answered at a specific point in the live, okay? So be patient and just enjoy the content, enjoy the information. I do want you all to participate and give your feedback. What do you think happens? How is some of the information I'm saying resonating with you? How is it different from maybe what you were taught, what you believe, or what you've experienced in your spiritual journey? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the reading, as I always do. Yes, we designs and sets aklenove. Moi vini ku ua veka me te ak man po pomsi. Tambui and command the vent when I comes to no problem about the collective and myself. Nan pape woman, pape confiance, confiance, connaissance, me remercie. Benevolent ancestors of all of those who are currently watching and all those who will join, if you have any messages that you would like to give at any point in this live or during this reading, please come through with the messages. Signs, synchronicities, please come through. Please be welcome. I do not consent to being mounted at this time. I do not consent to being mounted at this time. Ayibobo. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these cards. If I see any angel numbers or if there's any messages that come through intuitively, I will let you know. These are your ancestors. These are your spirit team as well as my spirit team, okay? So, Spirit, what is the overall energy of this reading for the collective at this time? Overall energy for the collective at this time. We have the Mother of Wands, okay? So the Mother of Wands is a card of manifestation. Okay, she is a mastery of creation, a master of creation. She is very confident. She's very bold, very charismatic, very attractive, fearless. All right, she owns the power that she has, and she's very aware of the power that she has. Okay, so that is the overall energy of this reading. 9 cards, please, for the collective. Some of you all are facing an ending. This is the end of a relationship. For some of you, there's something that has happened in your life where you've gained completion over healing it. Okay, so for some of you, there's some type of trauma, something that you've gone through in the past that needed healing, and you've gotten to a place where you have completed your healing. I'm hearing congratulations. Congratulations. But it's because of your completion in your healing that you now have the ability to move forward and be more independent, to be more secure in who you are. It feels like whatever this was something to do with your esteem, your self-esteem. You didn't feel good enough. You didn't think you were good enough. You didn't have enough. For others of you, there is someone, clarify the Knight of Cups. There is someone that you had to stand up for yourself against. This person could have been a family member. This could have been a lover. But we have the 7 of Wands clarifying the Knight of Cups in the world. There was someone that you finally stood up for yourself against. Um, for some of you, there's someone that you need to stand up for yourself against. There's um, one of your ancestors, one of your spirit team wants you to start standing up for yourself more often. They want you to be more determined. They want you to be more secure in who you are and what you're capable of. Right now, you're not very happy. You're not very happy. You're not very content with who you are and the direction that your life has gone into. Okay? Yes. Let's clarify this Four of Cups. For Three of Pentacles, you're not happy with the people who are around you or the people who you are working with. This feels very familial. This feels like family. This doesn't necessarily feel like a lover. We have the Four of Wands and the Three of Swords. So having to do with your home, having to do with your family. There are people that you are working with, or people who you are surrounded by, or people who were meant to help you who did not or could not. Okay? And you are not happy with the results. You're not happy with the way that you are treated by them or the way that they handle you. We have the Page of Wands with the Ace of Pentacles and the Sun card. They want you to be inspired to, like, I feel like not stagnate, go off on your own. Start a new beginning by yourself. They already feel like you've gotten to a place where you can stand. They see that you're already at a place where you can stand independently. It feels like you don't need the people who are making you unhappy. You think you do, but you have everything that you need. You are strong in who you are, whether you know it or not. Also, with the Three of Pentacles energy, this card often indicates working with spirit, not necessarily physical people, but working with your spirit team, working with God to create whatever it is that you want in life, to be whoever it is that you want in life. Sometimes we focus too much on physical people giving us a helping hand, but our ancestors help us so much. And a lot of us don't even realize it because a lot of us are not even venerating them or don't know anything about veneration. A lot of us feel like we're just lucky like that. Like, I don't know why shit always works out. I guess I just be lucky like that. It's because you're protected. It's because you're being guided and helped by those who came before you. Okay? So they want you to realize with everything that you've gained over this period of, standing up for yourself and growing a backbone, that they've been beside you. They've been walking with you. That they've cleared the path for you. That they've assisted you this whole time. So even if the people who you consider family in the physical, the people who you consider home, are breaking your heart, are hurting you, they want you to know that they're always there. And that even if you go off on your own to do your own thing without the support of them, that you are not by yourself. All the times that you're not by yourself. You have never been. You have never been by yourself. Okay? But it feels like going ahead and embarking upon things on your own, doing your own thing, feeling inspired to start something on your own is what's going to lead you to your abundance, to your clarity, to your happiness, to your freedom. Emphasis on the freedom, heavy emphasis on the freedom. Some of y'all really need to follow your dreams. Seven of Cups energy is here with the Queen of Wands once again. Some of you, there's a dream that you need to follow, a dream deferred, something that you put on the back burner, something that you regret not doing, and it's in part because your family did not support you. Any effort that you've made toward this thing was half-ass supported. They might have just said, okay, go ahead and do that. That sounds great, but never offered a helping hand, never applauded applauded you when you gained certain successes. And so, that makes you feel like a failure, but you're not. And I feel like for some of you, Spirit wants you to start again. Whatever that thing is that you put down, that you gave up on because you weren't supported, they want you to know that they've always supported you, that they've always been there. And they want you to start again. Okay? So what is the advice? What is the advice here? Period. Bottom of the deck. Union. Come together with them. Come together with them. If you do not currently venerate your ancestors, if you do not currently lean on them for support, lean on them. They are here. They're here. All right? Your advice. When it comes to this mental conflict that you are in, it feels like telling yourself that you can't. But not just telling yourself that you can't, but telling yourself all the reasons why you can't, all the reasons why it won't work, all the reasons why you can't be successful in doing this thing. This Tower energy here. Deconstruct the way that you're currently thinking. Stop telling yourself what you can't do, what won't work out, why it's going to be too hard, what you need in order to start. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Just do it. Just start. Okay? Spirit wants you to know that they are here and they are ready to support you. Okay? Not now, but right now. That sounded like a man. like an older man. Not now, but right now. Somebody's granddaddy. All right. Hashe. So, moving on. Again, if you all have any questions that you would like to ask for yourself specifically, you can drop them at any point during the live, and I will come to them once we're at a point where we've finished the discussion. Once I've reached all my points, then I will answer all of your super chats. But let's get started. So, death. What is it? We all know what death is, in a sense. Religiously. A lot of us have grown up religiously, following Abrahamic traditions such as Christianity or following Islam. So our view of death is heavily influenced by the way that we were raised religiously. Okay. For a lot of us, we were taught that we are born, that we live, and then we die. That point in the middle, it's definitely somebody here. That point in the middle where we live, we're supposed to live righteously. We're supposed to follow certain rules and do certain things and live to a certain standard in order to see a promised paradise, some type of promised heaven once we die. It is often understood and believed that if we should happen to perish, some of us will go to a place in between because we have unfinished business. If you all are here, please drop a like on the video. It really helps out the algorithm. Thank you all so much for joining me. But we're taught that if we have like some type of unfinished business, that we go to a place in between, limbo or purgatory or whatever we would call this place according to our religious beliefs. And that's not entirely false. It seems to me that many cultures, many traditions understand death to a certain extent. And I feel like a lot of it is influenced by personal experience, shrouded in this is religion, okay? But that personal experience is actually very important and shouldn't be lost in the religious aspect of it. Okay. So, what if I told y'all that the way that we are taught that death exists is not entirely true? That the way that we were brought up in these traditions, or in these religions rather, um, it's not completely true. It's not completely false, but it's not completely true. Um, as someone who was raised Christian and, kind of moved out of that, I feel as though what is understood is sprinkled with fear to make us live according to a certain standard, according to whatever religion it is that we were following. Okay. But certain religions have certain ideals about death that are very interesting, and I also feel like are true, actually have some truth to them. And it just feels like everyone is trying to understand death from their own cultural backgrounds, from their own regional backgrounds, and like their upbringing. Okay. So for those of you all who don't know, I work heavily in the realm of death. I learned on my spiritual path that I am supposed to be a death doula. Okay. My spirit guide, my met text, the one who holds my head, is a Loa of death. Um, and so that's my path, essentially. But because of this, I have a certain experience that I learned from, when it comes to death. When I was younger, when I was 13, 14, I started experiencing a lot of heavy hitting deaths, the deaths of some very important people in my life. And it has been my belief that that is because of my path. I needed to experience grief in all forms. I needed to experience the depth of grief. In those times when I lost these people, and even still to this day, upon them dying, I get visited by them. At 14, 15 years old, I did not understand. I was terrified because of the way that we are raised in Abrahamic religion, like ghosts, ooh, ooh, ghosts, that's scary. I don't want to, even if it was my favorite aunt, like I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to experience that, to face that. Okay. But over time and over several deaths, I started to begin to understand energy and the spirit and the soul, and how it never disappears. It never, like our energy, our soul always comes back. It always comes back. Which brings me to some of the traditions that actually believe in reincarnation. Now, of course, if you're an atheist, you believe that nothing happens, you just die, and that's it. And that's, for you to believe. That's your belief. I'm not here to argue with you if that's what you believe. That's not what I'm here for. That's not the purpose of this life. But there are religions like Buddhism and Hinduism that believe in reincarnation, and those who follow Islam, they believe that your soul wanders for 40 days, to the best of my knowledge, for 40 days, before you are judged, and then you go to wherever you go. But subsequently, it seems that at some point we're all promised some type of paradise, some type of heaven. But what happens before you get to those heavens, to those paradises? Okay. I guess that just depends on what you believe and what tradition you follow. In the practices that I personally follow, we believe that we are reincarnated several times, before, finally becoming one with God. Okay. However, the journey from death to God, from physical death to God, there's a whole bunch of processes that happen um, from here to there, you know? So, in my experience, what I have come to realize is typically when someone dies a natural death, it seems as though they move on to the next realm. I personally believe you go to an ancestral realm, okay, a separate place from here, a separate dimension from here. However, you are allowed to come back. You are allowed to visit your family. Like, it's not somewhere that you have to stay permanently. And this is just based on my current experience. Now, years from now, when I'm further along on my journey, maybe I'll feel different. But from what I'm experiencing, this is not just, thinking, wishing, hoping. This is what I have personally experienced in dealing with spirits and dealing with departed souls, that you can come back. That is the purpose of, altar work and having an altar. It's because when you create an altar, you create a space for your ancestors to take up. You create a gateway in your home for them to come back and forth. Okay? A crossroads, if you will. Each altar is a crossroad for your ancestor to come back and forth through. Um, and it's been my experience that if they die naturally, and if they die a generally painless, kind of death, they go ahead and they go to wherever it is that they go. However, if you die in a way in which you were not ready, or that you have unfinished business, or in a way where you were taken before your time, oftentimes violently, a lot of times those spirits do not just go to wherever it is that they're supposed to be. And again, I'm telling you this from my own personal experience. Um, because of my path, so it's believed that spirits can't come directly to you, that you have to wait a year and a day or 40 days, depending on the tradition, depending on what you believe in. However, for me, and because of what my path consists of, it seems that people can come to me as soon as they die. They can come to me even before their death. I've gotten messages on 2 occasions from both my cousin and my mother before their death, pertaining to their death. So I feel like that has a lot to do with energy and the soul having a knowing. Um, and they're coming to me because of what my path consists of. Okay. I've been able to see people, hey Kiana, not see them, but feel their presences immediately upon them dying. Okay. When my biological father died, I actually saw him. He walked through my living room, and about 30 minutes later, I got a call from my cousin to let me know that my biological father had died. With my mother, had a dream of exactly the way she died. In real life, that dream mirrored how she died. There were some slight differences, but I'll just tell y'all. In the dream, I dreamt that she OD'd intentionally because her husband had died in a fire. Okay, for whatever reason, in this dream, um, me and my siblings were still able to see her and talk to her. At this point in life, I understand that that's because, with altars and all of that, you still have your family around. I didn't know that at the time. But we were talking to her and we were like, lady, why? Why would you do that? That's weird. Like, why would you do that? And she's like, I just wanted to be my husband. All right. But in real life, what happened was something similar. She died in her sleep, or we'll say through the night. We don't know if she was actually asleep or not, but at the time that she died, it was overnight. They found next to her medication, and the assumption was that she OD'd. But upon counting the pills and looking at the data the prescription was filled, they realized that she had been taking them accordingly, so that wasn't the case. But it almost feels to me like she knew. Like she knew that this time was coming, so she came to me, gave me this vision of her death. And in the time that we had to bury her, me and my little brother were the calmest. We were not in tears. And we were basically there to console everyone else. And it's not that we didn't care to lose our mother, but it's just, I guess we handle death differently. I don't know if it matters, but I'm a Gemini and my little brother is a Virgo. And we both share the same ruling planet. So maybe we just think alike. But for whatever reason, we, handled it that way. Very recently, my cousin was murdered. Some of you all may remember that. But before I got any information about what happened to her, I was on Facebook and I was under this post. I don't remember exactly what the post was, but I had made a joke and I said, my name is so and so. I just got out of jail for murder, but the joke's on them because I did it. That was what the little thing that I posted with the meme or whatever. The next day, I was informed by my brother that the person whose name I said, I'm not going to say what his name is, we'll just call him Bob, but Bob's stepdaughter was murdered, and Bob's stepdaughter was murdered by Bob. Okay. And then the last that I heard, he was trying to figure a way to get out. So I feel like she brought me that joke that I made as a way to say, like, this is happening and make sure that he don't get away with it. Okay. Make sure he doesn't get off, So I definitely feel like death is not so black and white as religion has taught us or has made us believe. Okay. I definitely feel like the energies that we contain, our souls, have a knowing, of what's going to come, when it's going to come, and B, are a constant energy that never dies. They still exist here. Okay. Now, the reason why I bring up the story of my cousin is because her death was so tragic. She did not just go where she was supposed to go. She came to me and she followed me for some weeks, and she pushed and she poked and she mounted and she brought signs, and her energy was really aggressive. Her energy was really aggressive because it was like desperation, like, please help me. I literally heard her in that when I was waking up one morning, in that in between sleep and awareness, I heard, I need your help, like her screaming at me, I need your help. I need your help, before I woke up. So when people die tragically, I do believe that they hang around, not in purgatory, not like what we're taught, but literally here on the earthly realm. And it's because they do have unfinished business. So a lot of what we see on TV is facts. I know they try to make it all fantasy and all that, but that should be real. And she had unfinished business, and it was my job as a death doula, psychopomp, to help her and guide her. And what I had to do for her was to elevate her, because she was in a place that she was being attacked by other energies. Okay. Other energies who were in favor of the person who hurt her. Okay. So I had to do an elevation ceremony for her to take her out of that place. Okay. Um, so there's definitely not this idea that we're taught that you just, die, sleep until judgment day, and then go off to heaven is not entirely true. There's a whole other life, if you will, that happens after you die. I want people to understand that death is not an ending, and it has never been an ending. It is the end of a physical life that you share with people that you've grown attachments to in this life. Okay. But the soul itself is infinite, it never dies. And once this life ends, there is more life to experience. Um, it is simply a transition. It is simply a transition. Um, I don't want to get too deep, but when it comes to ancestors, another thing that I've come to understand about death is that a lot of times, I won't say every time, because I am aware of a couple of my past lives, and most of the time, I've been related to my current ancestors. However, there was one life that I'm aware of that I was not related to my current family members. Um, and I'm actually who I was a relative of one of my current spirit guides. Okay, so that's why, like, there's still a connection to this life, but not a blood or ancestral connection. But it seems like when we die, we're always born into the same family more times than not. Okay, and it seems like once you awaken on your spiritual journey, you have the ability, or at least the capability. I don't think a lot of people do it, but you can remember, or you can be made aware of your previous lives. I know about maybe three to four of my previous lives, who I was, what kind of relationships I had with certain people, what I was capable of. I've been made aware of all of that. And I feel like that in itself is proof that the spirit, that the soul itself never dies. Okay, it just keeps on doing stuff and doing stuff and like doing new stuff. Having new experiences, gaining new awarenesses, new knowledge, new wisdom. And if you actually dedicate yourself to growing spiritually in your current life, you too can tap into those past experiences, that past knowledge, that wisdom that you gained. Um, so the purpose, the reason why I thought that this was a very important topic to cover is because I've been noticing lately that either people who are close to me, or people like on my timeline through social media, or people who know people that I know, a lot of people are currently experiencing death. I recently lost my grandmother, and I understand that, everybody grieves differently. But I guess what I want to accomplish is to help people understand death from a different perspective. I want people to understand that death is not an ending, that it is not necessarily a sad occasion or something that you have to be sad about, or that you truly lose anyone when someone dies. Um, Example. um, so it was during the lunch break. Some of you all might have been there for this. But the day that my grandmother died, I was doing the lunch break. And during the lunch break, I looked over to my window and I said that a cardinal had just flew by my window, like was hovering in the window, and then it went back somewhere, and then it comes back, and I was like, oh shit, it's back. The cardinal was just flying around my window. About an hour after the lunch break is when I found out that my grandmother had passed. Definitely know that was my grandmother. 1,000% know that was my grandmother. Making herself known. Cardinals are one of the birds that they tend to, show themselves as. Um, and I want you all to understand that, like once they die, once they leave their physical body, they don't forget you. Um, and they do things like that. They show up as animals. They show up in angel numbers. Was it yesterday or the day before? During one of these lives, again, I think it was lunch break, I smelled plums. Plums are extremely significant in my relationship with my grandmother. Every one of her grandchildren, all of her children, all of them, everyone knows that she had the bomb ass plum tree in her backyard. So of course, the scent that she would waft across my nose would be the one that I would know the most, and that's the smell of plums. Like, we don't ever lose anyone, and I want, and I understand that it's not going to be easy, but I would like for people to attempt to kind of change the way that they view death. Okay. When I lost my grandmother, my entire timeline, all my aunts and uncles, cousins, all grandma, my sister's gone, like a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, but I celebrated for her. I celebrated for her. I mean, maybe a tear or two, but to me, that was a time of celebration. You are leaving your physical body full of ailments, full of pain, to be lifted into the ancestral realm, okay? To gain a certain kind of freedom that not everyone will have the opportunity. Well, everyone will have the opportunity to experience, but no one will understand it in the way that she understands it because she's actually experiencing it. Um, so I really want people to try to understand that it's not an ending, and it's only sad for us, like for the people who have emotionally connected and attached to that physical embodiment of someone who's always in your life and always is going to be in your life and has always been a part of your life. We're only losing the physical attachment, but not the person. If you all, I don't know if you all have ever noticed, but especially in old people, they tend to, and my mother, she wasn't even that old when she died, but when people are on the way out, they have a tendency to check on the people that they love. I know for a fact that my mother asked every single child of hers how they were doing in life, what they doing at their job, how they doing at their job, what you got going on. Like, and it was in a way that seemed like she was making sure that when she left this world, each one of her children would be fine. That we were all in a place that if I leave right now, they'll be good. There's nothing else that I need to give them. And a lot of people are not going to understand this, but it feels like in death comes a gift. The gift in the death of a parent is basically them saying, you have it. I've taught you all I needed to teach you. Even if I wasn't the best parent, you learned lessons that you needed to learn in my absence, or even maybe because of it. And now I'm trusting that you are going to be okay without me. Okay? I feel like in that in itself is a gift that we don't understand because we're so bogged down with grief and in the thought of not having that person anymore. Okay. but it in itself is a gift. But I understand, like I said, for a lot of you, it's going to be hard for you to understand because you haven't had certain experiences. But I hope that you will try. I hope that this will open your mind a little bit to the possibility of eternal life. Because if it feels like that's what we all gain, in leaving the physical body, we continue. Our energy continues. Our energy never dies. Our soul never dies. It persists. So even if we lose someone in the physical, know that they're not gone. They're not gone. A lot of the things that happen for us, the reason why people like me, mediums, can give you messages from them is because they're around. If you truly lost them, there would be no way for me to allow them to possess me, to give you messages. There would be no way for you to receive certain messages in your own dreams and your own intuition. Um, Sometimes you may even have like a daydream or just a inkling. That's not you. A lot of times that is not you. That is the mother that you lost. That is the father that you lost, the grandmother. And I feel like a lot of us, going back to altar work, if we connected with them and gain that understanding that they're here and will be here whenever we need them, it would make death less of a tragedy and more of a celebratory occasion. It's a promotion, if you will, freedom from the constraints of the physical world. Um, yeah. So, do y'all have questions? What do y'all have to say? What is your input? How do you feel about death? Tell me some of you all's experiences. Mm-mm-mm. To me, I know you got to experience a 2 or 3 with your ringing ears. But yeah, how do you all feel about death? Because I mean, I get it. We're just, I almost feel like if we weren't programmed this way, that we would view it differently. A lot of us who follow traditional beliefs of our ancestors, people of color, most specifically, um, do have a certain understanding of death and do have a certain reverence for it and the people that we lose. And they understand that we're not losing anything. But I guess more so in Western culture, in Western based religions, it feels like a period of mourning. You don't think you're going to get an apology until she dies? Until she dies or before she dies? It feels like, and I can't make this promise to you, but it feels like before our parents go, especially, it's like, have you all ever had any like older relatives who, before they die, they say things like, I'm ready to go on home now. And you be like, you're at home. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm tired. I'm so tired. You're in the bed. What are you talking about? Like, go to sleep if you're tired. Like, they say things like this, but they say it because it's like they're knowing that they're about to transcend, that they're about to transition into that higher realm. So what I'll say to you, Black Unicorn, I'll share a little bit of my relationship with my mother. Um, it was not the greatest. We were not, heavily bonded. Um, she made a lot of mistakes. raising me and my siblings. Um, there was hella secrets. Like I keep saying, my biological father, my biological father. Um, I never knew I had a biological father until I was like 25. The man who raised me is the only father I ever knew. He didn't know that I was not his. I did not know that he was not mine. Like, so she kept a huge secret all the way into my 20s. Several times due to her own, um, addictions and vices. Both myself and my siblings have been put in very dangerous situations. Um, One in which, I personally was physically hurt, emotionally hurt. Um, but closer to the time that she was getting ready to die, she felt the need to say, you know what? You know how you always joke about your dad not being your dad? Because I would, because I'm chocolatey as hell, and my dad is a light skinned man, and my mom is a brown skinned woman, so make it make sense. And I understand, science and genes and all that, could have skipped a generation, but I would always make jokes like, the math ain't mathin', like, who's my real dad? Um, and so towards the end of her life, she felt the need to say, you know how you always joking? Well, maybe he's not your real dad. That's a possibility. So she sent me a DNA test. She sent my biological father a DNA test. We sent it in and it was confirmed. I personally know for a fact, I understand this, I feel it in my spirit, and I know it. My father knows it too. That at the time that they met, she was already pregnant. So she's always known that he was not my father. Um, but she felt before she left that she had to get that one off. She had to get that secret off. Um, Maybe I'll say a year or so before she died, is when we got everything squared away, when she apologized for the mistakes that she made. I am big on accountability. I hold my mom accountable, and I hold everyone accountable, because I'm like, if my mama is not exempt, then nobody is exempt. Accountability is a big deal for me. So I definitely held her accountable for the mistakes that she made and the dangers that she put us in. Um, but before she died, she had to make it right, and she did, and she went on and went. So perhaps your mother is going to be on that same thing. Um, if not, in the ancestral realm, um, through some altar work, through a medium, if you have medium abilities yourself, um, maybe you can contact her and y'all can talk about that after the fact. But um, I would personally encourage you to reach out to her to get that straight before we even get to the point where she may or may not die. Okay, just for your own sanity, your own, um, like, it does definitely feel like it takes a weight off of you, um, just to know that she apologizes. So try to get it squared away now if you can. My first experience with death was when I was 8. My father and sister, 9, died in a house fire. My mother says that prior to the fire, she, my sister, spoke in ways as if she knew she was going to pass, as though she knew she was going to pass. I strongly feel like people know. Strongly feel like people know. And I don't know if it's, our past loved ones who tell us this, or how we know. But we do. We definitely do. Hmm. Does anyone else have an experience they would like to share? But yeah, if that's all y'all got, we can do super chats now. If you have a super chat, or if you come up with something later while we do super chats, you can, drop your knowledge. Um, but yeah, if you have super chats, you can send them now. If you have any questions you would like to ask, if you would like cards to be pulled for you, I'm not going to allow anyone to mount me, but we can definitely use cards to get answers from past loved ones as well. I don't cry or really just be sad. I just be normal when death comes. I do feel everyone else's sadness, but it's like I want everyone else to be happy. Tamia, um, I have never told you this, but because I don't want to hype you up, I don't want to cap you up, but and don't nobody else get jealous. But you're probably one of my favorite clients, one of my favorite people who I've read for. Um, I definitely feel like your path is very similar to mine, and I definitely feel like you were supposed to be in contact with me. Um, the way that you handle death is very similar to the way that I handle death. And we've spoken before about how similar your experiences are to mine. Like the whole thing with the picture in the yard, and I showed you the picture that my ancestors gave me. Like it seems like you're literally following my footsteps. So um, I definitely think that being a death doula, being a guide for spirits from this world into the next is going to be on your path. And um, I think that for people like us, people who are meant to deal with the death, aw, people who are meant to deal with the dead and the transition of um, leaving this life, we are given certain experiences to prepare us for that. Like I said, y'all, from the time that I was 14, I experienced a lot of death, and it was like death after death after death, like back to back. My aunt, who I initially lost, was like a mom, like auntie mother. When my mother was having a difficult time, being a mother, and when I was put in the dangerous position that I was put in, I moved to Philadelphia, and my aunt encouraged that. My aunt supported that. My aunt essentially um, strong armed my mom into letting me move to Philadelphia permanently. Um, she died maybe a year or two after I moved to Philadelphia. At her funeral, my cousin's mother had a heart attack and died. Okay. A couple years after that, my aunt, her sister, who I look exactly alike, she used to say I was her daughter. Um, she's also a lesbian. um, she died in a major car accident. It was like 7 cars involved. She was the only casualty. Um, and she had been saying for some time, she told my uncle, who also passed in recent years, that she felt that death was following her, that it was on the way for her. And the car that she died in was not even her car. It was a rental, because a couple weeks before that, she had gotten another car accident that didn't kill her. So she got this rental and she was going to see a friend. 7 car, 6 car pile up. She's the only casualty. So they be knowing, like they be knowing when death is here, when it's on the way. They know when it's time to leave this world. But after that, my aunt Rose died shortly after that, even. And then in recent years, her brother, my uncle Sly, he died. Um, just several big deaths for me, and I feel like for people like you and I, Tamia, that is for our preparation, because we need to have a certain understanding of death, and we have to um, be able to, contain our faculties and our emotions. That's not to say that we don't get sad when people die. That's not to say that, we don't feel the loss, but we feel it differently, and we have a different understanding that helps in the grieving process, if you will. For my grandmother, I didn't technically grieve. Okay, it was, like I said, more so a celebration. Welcome to the ancestral realm. Um, Black unicorn. When I was younger, my uncle passed. When we were in the hospital with him, I heard his last breath and I felt like his spirit passed through me. I had to walk out the room because my body felt hot. Tamia, my grandmother Rose died, and I just started understanding. I get sad, but not that sad. That's gonna not the sad that's gonna have me down, right? Um, and Black Unicorn, what you're saying about your uncle passing through you, definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. Um, I don't know why he would pass through you, but maybe that was just him trying to hug you or something like that. But when my aunt died, the one who started it all, word to Aunt Cookie, um, every single one of my cousins said that they had an experience, that she came to them in a dream. My father said he had a dream about her. But every single one of my cousins said, like, Aunt Cookie came to me last night. And for me, she came to me too, but I was too scared. I was too scared to look at her, because it wasn't a dream. It was her in my room. I had bunk beds in my room. I had my own room. But I slept on the top bunk, and the bottom bunk was like a futon that, folds into a couch. So I was sleeping on the top bunk. I believe I was sleeping with her cat. She had a cat who had halitosis. His breath so stank, but he was so sweet. And I was sleeping with her cat, and I could feel her like leaning over the bed, like over me, like, I'm here. But I was under the blanket, and I was too scared to just even look, but I knew she was there. Um, and in that house in particular, like, my great grandmother died in that house, and I've heard, spirits in that house talking and everything. So it wasn't new to me, but I hadn't gotten to the point where I am now, where a spirit could be present and I'm not tripping. All right. Um, but yeah, I just wish, and this may be just a lofty dream, but I just really wish that people didn't experience death in the way that they do. Um, and I feel like that is coming from the way that we are brought up. I feel like it's coming from our religious backgrounds, that we don't approach death in a more celebratory way, or in a way that doesn't make us sad. Like, knock on wood, but I know the day is going to come where I do lose my father. He's one of my best friends. Um, I would like to hope and think that I'm not broken by this, um, because I understand what happens when we die. Now, because all of this is new to me on my spiritual path, not necessarily death, but what I'm supposed to be doing, what work I'm supposed to be doing. I know that there's still a lot for me to learn, and there's a lot of experiences that I'm going to have that will further mold my viewpoints on death and on grieving. Um, but as it stands right now, I understand that we don't just leave, that we're not just gone, that we don't just fail to exist, and that most importantly, we're not losing anyone when we lose them from the physical world. We don't lose them at all. We just don't physically have them, but they're always around. And they always remember you. Like, when we die, we don't just forget our, loved ones. Now, through when we're reborn, okay, a lot of times we do forget the life that we had before, but it feels like, to me, that that energy still exists. on some type of plane. And I say that because I have been visited by my past lives. I have been visited by who I was before, and they still exist. And a lot of times they won't tell me their names, and I feel like it's because, bitch, I'm you, so I can't tell you my name. Like, you don't need to know that much. But um, I have been visited by, past life energies of who I've been in the past. So it's almost like, this is a weird example, but this is how I'm seeing it. It's kind of like we're copied and pasted, but each time we copy and paste into a different life, maybe we rearrange some things. So the awareness, once we tap into our spiritual gifts and our spiritual journey, comes back to us. But whoever we were before, we don't immediately know. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I'm absolutely obsessed right now with these. It's here on YouTube. um, these kids that are born into families and they remember who they were before. There's several stories on YouTube like this where the kids remember their past lives. And a lot of times those people are not related. That's why I'm saying it could be 50-50. Maybe sometimes we're related, sometimes we're not. But these kids, one of the best stories I saw on there was this little black boy. And I think his mom might have been an atheist, I'm not sure. But he was saying, like, he remembers that he used to run through this forest. He picked up an arrowhead one time, a rock. He kept on saying, it's not a rock, it's an arrowhead, it's an arrowhead, it's an arrowhead. And his mom took him to a museum. And I guess the guy who worked at the museum, like, told her, like, yes, this is an arrowhead. It was used by the such and such people. Told her about some of their coming to age, like, ceremonies when boys have to go through to become a man, like. And these are all things that this little boy had told his mom that he had been through, that he had done. But it seems like if we do have memories of our past lives, we only remember up until a certain age. These kids happen to remember for a minute, for a long time, and they take these kids. Like, some of them have stopped having memories, and then once the show had started, like, the parents would tell the stories, and they would, like, vaguely remember, like, all the stuff that the parent is saying, but then they would stop remembering the past life at all. Like, they remember all the things that they experienced up until a certain point, and then they would stop having those experiences. But they would remember, like, when I was little, I knew I was John Smith Johnson or something like that. And it was just so interesting that they remembered, and to me it made complete sense. But they would go through some type of ceremony, like if it was a plane accident, crash, or whatever, they would go to the memorial for that and give their past life, like, see themselves on the wall or whatever the case is, and past life, it's been great, whatever, and then move on into this life and continue to live this life. I don't know. That was long and drawn out. I'm sorry. But if y'all are interested in that, maybe I'll find an episode of it and put it in the description box when this is over. But I just really think that it's really interesting that people actually do remember their past lives as children. But, kids be more tapped in. They do. Spiritually, they got a lot more going for them than adults. And I ain't gonna go off on a tangent, but I feel like religion has a lot to do with that. If we raised our kids more spiritually than religious, a lot of the spiritual knowledge that they have from previous existences, they would still hold on to, they would still cling to. And it would probably be more beneficial for them, moving forward into this life and into their spiritual journey. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Do y'all have any more experiences, any questions, comments, or concerns that you all would like to share? If not, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to hop on TikTok maybe around 10:30 because I got to eat first. But I'm going to hop on TikTok and do some live divination if y'all just want to hang out with me on TikTok. But if not, I will see y'all the next time I see y'all. So thank you all so much for joining me on this Savvy Saturday. If you all have any suggestions for other topics for Savvy Saturday, you can drop them in the comments below. If any of this resonates for you, if you have any opinions or thoughts about what happens to us after death, you can also drop that in the comments. If you are not watching here with the live, you can still participate and catch us on the next one. But yeah, if y'all have any comments or any suggestions for another topic for Saturday, drop them in the comments and I will look into them. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you all so much. I'm wishing you all love and light and everything right. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.